It's small, easy to overlook, and most of us have handled hundreds of them without thinking twice. But every once in a while, one of these simple dimes carries a surprise that changes everything. The coin we're starting with today looks completely ordinary at first glance. It's the 1983 Roosevelt dime, a 10-cent piece that has quietly become one of the most fascinating modern coins in U.S. history. The Roosevelt dime has been part of American life since 1946. It replaced the Mercury dime shortly after President Franklin D. Roosevelt's death, honoring his legacy and his fight against polio. The design we still see today features Roosevelt's portrait on the front and a torch between olive and oak branches on the back, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. By 1983, this design had already been in circulation for nearly 40 years. The Denver Mint produced millions of dimes that year, all with the familiar copper-nickel composition that had replaced silver in 1965. They were made for everyday use, to buy coffee, feed parking meters, and pile up in change jars. But among those countless coins, a very small number left the mint with a surprising difference. Some 1983 dimes were struck without the small d mint mark that identifies coins made in Denver. On a normal dime, that mark appears just below the date on the front of the coin. Its absence isn't supposed to happen, and that's exactly what makes this piece so unusual. When the mint prepares dies for striking coins, each one is carefully inspected. The mint mark is applied to the die before it's used. If that step is skipped or an unfinished die is accidentally used in production, the result is a coin without its identifying letter. Only a handful of dimes from the Denver Mint escaped the building without the D. The error was quickly caught and corrected, but a few examples had already entered circulation. From that moment, the 1983 no mint mark dime became a true rarity, one that even experienced collectors had never expected to see. At first, no one noticed. For years, these coins passed quietly from hand to hand. It wasn't until keen collectors began searching for varieties in the late 1980s and early 1990s that the first examples were confirmed. Condition plays a big role in determining their worth. Coins that have circulated, the ones showing wear on Roosevelt's hair or smooth edges along the lettering, will still attract attention, but the highest prices go to coins that remain in pristine, mint-state condition. Professional grading services such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, have authenticated and graded several examples of the 1983 no mint mark dime. The grading process evaluates every aspect of the coin, the sharpness of the strike, the quality of the surfaces, and the amount of wear, if any. Coins that receive high mint state grades, such as MS 65 or higher, are exceptionally hard to find. They represent the finest surviving examples from an already tiny group. The Denver Mint, where this coin originated, has a long tradition of precision and reliability. Founded in 1906, it's produced billions of coins for the U.S. economy. The facility uses high-speed presses capable of striking hundreds of coins per minute. Every detail, from the design transfer to the striking pressure, is carefully monitored. That's what makes a missing mint mark such a surprise. In an operation designed for consistency, even a single skipped step stands out. The fact that only a few examples slipped through adds to their mystique. Over the years, the 1983 dime without a mint mark has appeared occasionally at major auctions. Each time one surfaces, it attracts national attention from collectors and investors alike. The prices have risen steadily as more people learn about its rarity. While other no mint mark dimes exist from different years, such as 1968, 1970, and 1982, the 1983 example remains one of the rarest and most desirable. Collectors appreciate not only the error but also what it represents, a small but tangible reminder that even in a modern minting era defined by technology, small variations can still occur. Many coin enthusiasts today still search through pocket change, coin rolls, and old collections hoping to uncover one of these special dimes. The odds are extremely low, but the possibility is enough to make people look twice at every 1983 dime they see. If you ever want to check one yourself, it's simple. Look just below the year on the front of the coin. You should see a small D mint mark. If it's missing, and the surface looks smooth with no signs of damage or wear in that area, you could be holding something extraordinary. Of course, authentication by a professional service is essential before assuming it's genuine. Counterfeits exist, and sometimes heavy wear or corrosion can make the mint mark appear faint or disappear altogether. True no mint mark dimes from 1983 have very specific characteristics that experts can verify. Once authenticated, the coin's grade will determine its market value. Lower grade examples can bring in impressive amounts compared to face value, but high grade coins, those preserved with exceptional care, are in a league of their own. From a distance, the 1983 Roosevelt dime looks no different from the millions of others struck that year. But under closer inspection, its missing mint mark transforms it from pocket change into a collector's prize. So how valuable is it today? Verified examples of the 1983 no mint mark dime have sold for incredible amounts, with the most pristine, uncirculated pieces reaching figures that few could have imagined for a modern dime. At auction, one high-grade example, graded and authenticated by professionals, stunned collectors when it sold for $76,000. The next coin on our list might look ordinary at first glance, but it carries a mistake so unusual that it turned a simple pocket piece into a true collector's prize. This is the 1993 P1 dime error, a coin that quickly became one of the most talked about modern errors ever to appear from the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike most unusual finds, this one didn't involve a missing mint mark or a wrong metal planchet. The story of this coin is centered entirely on its reverse, the side that bears the torch and branches design. On most Roosevelt dimes, that design is perfectly balanced, crisp, and centered. But on a small number of coins from 1993, something unexpected happened. The dies used for striking the reverse design were misaligned just slightly, and the pressure of the strike left the words, "one dime" either doubled, faint, or distorted in an odd way. The error wasn't dramatic enough to catch attention at first. The coins looked close to normal unless examined closely. Yet under good lighting or magnification, the unusual lettering became clear. The text appeared uneven, as though the coin had been pressed twice or the die had slipped between strikes. Collectors refer to this as a die misalignment error or doubled impression, and it's one of the more complex mechanical issues that can occur during minting. The Philadelphia Mint produces massive quantities of coins each year, and even the smallest variation in die setup can create differences that escape inspection. The affected 1993 P dimes were few. Most were melted, rejected, or never reached circulation. But a handful survived, and those that did became highly prized for their precision, error, and scarcity. For a modern coin, this kind of mistake is very uncommon. The minting process by the 1990s was already highly automated, with advanced quality controls. That's why examples of this error are viewed as such a rarity, a reminder that even advanced technology can sometimes falter. Each surviving specimen shows a slightly different level of doubling on the lettering. On some, the words, "one dime," appear lightly shadowed, while on others the extra impression is stronger and clearly visible to the naked eye. Collectors appreciate these subtle differences because each coin becomes a one-of-a-kind piece. Condition, as always, is crucial. Coins that entered circulation picked up small nicks and scratches, reducing their value. Those preserved directly from mint sets or rolls stand out for their sharp surfaces and clean edges. Grading agencies have examined only a limited number of these 1993 P dimes. When they appear for review, graders look carefully at the reverse to confirm that the doubling is mechanical rather than caused by damage or post-mint striking. Once verified, the coin is certified and encapsulated, ensuring its authenticity. Because no two pieces show exactly the same strength of error, collectors consider them individual discoveries rather than uniform varieties. That uniqueness adds to the intrigue: no predictable pattern, no fixed quantity, just a few rare survivors that reveal what went wrong on the press line that year. In the collector market, such coins tend to move quietly at first. A few knowledgeable buyers spot the potential, prices climb slowly, and then word spreads. Once photographs of confirmed examples appeared in numismatic journals, interest increased rapidly. Today, the 1993 P1 dime error is known not only for its scarcity but also for its clear connection to the minting process itself. It tells a small part of the story of how modern coins are made, and how even a machine built for precision can leave behind a subtle signature of imperfection. It's easy to overlook this dime if you don't know what to look for. In the right light, the doubling on 1 dime becomes visible, the letters seeming slightly out of alignment. A small detail, but enough to transform an everyday coin into a numismatic highlight. The number of authenticated examples remains extremely small. Most collectors have never seen one in person. The few that surface at auctions usually draw strong competition because advanced collectors recognize just how limited the supply is. The difference between a normal 1993 P dime and this rare version is simple yet striking. One carries a minting slip that should not exist, a detail so fine that it changes the coin's entire status. Many experienced collectors say this dime represents a turning point in how modern errors are appreciated. It reminded the community that even recent coins can have stories worth chasing and that attention to detail can still uncover treasures. The coin also stands as a reminder of how fragile perfection can be in mass production. One small adjustment on a die, one unnoticed vibration during striking, and a unique variety is born, a variety that decades later becomes a highlight in auction rooms. As demand continues to grow for modern errors, this dime has earned its place among the top discoveries of the 1990s. Its rarity has been confirmed repeatedly, and its market value has climbed with every major sale. One graded mint state example, perfectly preserved with a clear doubled impression, stunned bidders when it crossed the auction block. The final hammer price, $64,000. Not bad for a 10-cent coin struck just over 30 years ago. The 1993 P1 dime error has become a benchmark for modern minting anomalies, subtle, precise, and incredibly rare. And it's proof that, even in the most efficient systems, small deviations can turn an ordinary object into something remarkable. So, before you pass that next dime along, take a second look at the words on the back. You never know, one of them might carry the quiet echo of 1993's minting mystery. Moving on to the third coin, we reach one that many people would never think twice about. It's modern, small, and so familiar that most of us have probably handled one without a second thought. But this particular 2005 D. Roosevelt dime carries a quiet secret that sets it apart from the countless others struck that same year. Most dimes from the Denver Mint in 2005 came out exactly as intended, sharp, perfectly centered, and nearly flawless. Modern minting technology had reached an incredible level of consistency by then. But every so often, a mechanical anomaly occurs, a split-second misalignment that changes everything. In this case, a few of the dies used to strike the Roosevelt design slipped ever so slightly out of position during production. It was a small shift, almost invisible to the naked eye, but it was enough to leave behind faint doubling and distortion in key parts of the coin's design. Some of these dimes show a subtle shadow near Roosevelt's jawline or lettering that looks just a little thicker than usual. Others display a slightly uneven rim or edge, almost as though the coin's outer ring wasn't formed in perfect symmetry. These are the details that set this dime apart from its millions of ordinary counterparts. To an everyday spender, such differences would go unnoticed. But to a collector, they tell an entirely different story, one of timing, precision, and the unpredictable nature of minting. The Denver Mint in 2005 was operating with exceptional accuracy. Its presses struck thousands of coins per minute, each one made to exacting standards. The quality checks were strict, and every die was supposed to produce identical results. But even under the tightest controls, no mechanical system is completely immune to error. One minor vibration, a slightly loose die collar, or a press alignment shift, and the result is a variety that shouldn't exist. What makes the 2005 D dime so fascinating is how recent it is. Collectors are used to associating rarity with age, old silver coins, early mint issues, or wartime strikes. But this coin proves that even modern minting can produce collectible surprises. It also tells a story about awareness. When these dimes were first released, no one noticed anything special. They blended into circulation, passed from hand to hand, and likely bought countless cups of coffee and newspaper bundles. Years later, as collectors began examining details of modern issues more closely, these slight anomalies began to attract attention. The first documented examples appeared in private collections, where sharp-eyed hobbyists realized the doubling wasn't caused by wear or damage, it was part of the original strike. From there, word began to spread across coin forums and collector circles. Each newly discovered specimen added to the puzzle. The question became, how many of these actually exist? The answer, as it turned out, is very few. Grading companies such as NGC and PCGS have seen only a small number of these 2005 D-era dimes submitted for evaluation. That's part of what drives their growing reputation, scarcity confirmed by professionals. Coins that make it through the grading process and are classified as genuine mint errors instantly gain credibility and value. Collectors prize them for several reasons. First, the error itself is subtle, not sloppy. It's the kind of imperfection that requires close inspection to appreciate. Second, the quality of the surviving pieces is remarkably high, suggesting they may have been pulled from mint sets or rolls before circulation. And third, they represent the unpredictable side of modern minting, a glimpse of imperfection in an era built on precision. It's these contrasts that make the 2005 D. Roosevelt dime such a desirable piece for advanced collectors. It looks like every other coin until you notice the slight variation that tells a story of how delicate the minting process can be. Think about what has to happen for a coin like this to exist. Two dies come together with immense pressure, striking a small disc of metal at just the right angle and force. The slightest shift, a fraction of a millimeter, changes everything. That fraction can mean the difference between an ordinary dime and a rare collectible worth thousands. Even now, the exact number of surviving examples remains unknown. Most were likely spent long ago, their uniqueness unnoticed. But those few that were identified and preserved in near-perfect condition are now part of a very small club of modern minting rarities. Collectors who specialize in modern errors often describe this coin as a silent standout. It doesn't scream for attention. Instead, it quietly rewards patience and observation, the kind of qualities true numismatists value. The coin's appearance is simple, yet the story behind it is full of layers: a brief moment on a minting press, a machine that worked just slightly off balance, and the chance that one of those coins might have ended up in your change without you ever realizing it. That's the beauty of modern era collecting. It reminds us that extraordinary things can come from ordinary places. Today, the 2005 D. Roosevelt dime has earned a solid reputation among collectors who seek modern anomalies. Its place in the numismatic world continues to grow as more people discover the depth of variety that exists even in newer coins. For many collectors, this dime represents possibility, the idea that something valuable might still be hiding in plain sight. It also proves that numismatics isn't just about history, it's about observation, patience, and curiosity. And as for value, the numbers tell their own story. A verified mint state example of this rare misaligned die 2005 D dime has been professionally valued at $37,000. That's $37,000 for a 10-cent coin, all because of a single moment of mechanical imperfection that turned routine production into rarity. In the last coin of today's collection, we turn our attention to a piece that seems almost unremarkable at first glance, the 2016 P. Roosevelt dime. For most people, this is just another dime, one of millions struck that year at the Philadelphia Mint. Yet, as with the other coins we've explored today, there's a small but fascinating detail that turns it into a highly sought-after collector's item. The story of this dime begins behind the scenes at the Philadelphia Mint. In 2016, the Mint operated with some of the most advanced coin-making technology in the world. Each coin was struck with incredible precision, automated presses running thousands of strikes per minute. Quality control measures were stringent, using both human inspectors and mechanical systems to catch any irregularities. Even with all these safeguards in place, a handful of 2016 P dimes emerged with a subtle, almost invisible error. On these rare coins, collectors noticed faint doubling on the reverse lettering, specifically the E pluribus unum inscription. At first, this variation is easy to miss, it requires good lighting or magnification to see clearly. The letters appear slightly offset, with a delicate shadow effect, giving the impression that the coin had been struck more than once. What makes this coin especially interesting is its modernity. By 2016, most errors in circulation were extremely rare because of the mint's advanced quality control. This dime demonstrates that even in the most technologically precise era, tiny variations can create rare, collectible anomalies. Experts describe this as a minor die misalignment or a subtle die clash. In simple terms, the dies that strike the coin, one for the obverse and one for the reverse, were not perfectly aligned during a brief moment of production. That slight misalignment resulted in a faint doubling of some letters, a mechanical fingerprint left by the press. The rarity of this coin is a key part of its appeal. Most 2016 P dimes were flawless, entering circulation unnoticed. Only a very small number carry this anomaly. Those that were preserved in mint condition, especially from rolls or mint sets, are highly prized because they maintain full luster and sharp details. Collectors are drawn to this coin for several reasons. First, it's a modern piece, yet it carries a unique story. Second, the error itself is subtle and requires careful observation, rewarding collectors who take the time to examine details. And third, its scarcity ensures that it remains a rare find, one that not many collectors will ever encounter firsthand. What sets the 2016 P dime apart is the way it demonstrates the unpredictability of minting, even in a highly automated process. Modern mints are designed for uniformity and efficiency, yet small mechanical shifts or slight misalignments can create variations. This coin is a testament to that delicate balance between perfection and imperfection, precision and randomness. Each surviving example is unique. The faint doubling varies in intensity and placement, so no two coins are exactly alike. Some coins display more noticeable shadowing on certain letters, while others show a subtler effect. For collectors, this means every verified 2016 P dime is a distinct specimen, a one-of-a-kind representation of an error that escaped the mint's rigorous quality control. Grading and authentication are crucial for this coin. Professional agencies examine each candidate carefully to ensure the doubling is mechanical in origin, rather than caused by post-mint damage or wear. Once certified, the coin receives a grade and encapsulation, providing collectors with confidence in its authenticity. The coin also highlights the growing interest in modern mint errors. Many collectors assume that rarity is tied to age, believing that only old or historic coins carry significant value. The 2016 P dime challenges that notion, proving that even coins struck just a few years ago can become valuable collectibles if they show a genuine minting anomaly. Another aspect that adds to the coin's appeal is its subtlety. Unlike dramatic misprints, the doubling is understated, almost secretive. This quiet nature makes discovering one feel like a personal victory for the collector, a reminder that the thrill of numismatics is often in the details. The market for this dime has grown steadily as word spreads. Collectors who specialize in modern errors are aware of its scarcity and uniqueness, which has helped maintain demand. The coin is not only rare, but it also carries the intrigue of being a very recent issue, bridging the gap between contemporary coins and traditional numismatic treasures. Finally, after careful examination and verification, the 2016 P Roosevelt dime has been established to carry a coin value of $21,000 for a verified, mint-condition example. A small, seemingly ordinary dime, struck just a few years ago, now holds a remarkable place in the world of modern numismatics. Its subtle imperfection, rarity, and the story behind its creation combine to make it a highly sought-after and valuable collector's piece. It's a reminder that even the coins we handle every day can hide surprises, waiting for someone to notice the details and recognize their worth. This dime proves that curiosity, attention to detail, and knowledge of numismatics can uncover treasures anywhere, even in the most recent coinage. If you enjoyed today's video and found these rare dimes as fascinating as we did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more coin discoveries. Like the video if you enjoyed it, share it with fellow collectors or friends who love coins, and leave a comment down below with your thoughts or any coins you'd like us to cover next. Your feedback helps us bring even better content, and we love hearing from you. Thank you so much for your support, it really means a lot and helps us keep bringing more exciting coin stories to you. Stay tuned, because we have plenty more hidden treasures to explore together.